Well, hello, folks. This is Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the Jeffrey Daugherty Show live. It is Wednesday night, the 4th of February, in the year of our Lord, 2015. And I just dropped by tonight to blow your mind for about 15 minutes or so and talk about a question that you probably think sounds absolutely crazy. Absolutely bizarre, but I'll bet you won't think it's so bizarre in about 14 minutes from now. The question I'm asking is, did the church create the devil? That's right. Did the church create the devil? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a thought form? Have you ever heard of a tulpa? Have you ever heard of a thought form or a tulpa? Well, there's actually objective scientific research about tulpae, which is, I have learned, the plural for tulpa. And there's actually some objective scientific research about thought forms, tulpas, and tulpae. And it seems that there is at least some scientific evidence, and there's tons of anecdotal evidence from history and from stories from people, which is what anecdotal evidence is. And I have even interviewed a tulpa on the air. If you go on the Blog Talk Radio Jeffrey Daugherty Show, they still have it there in the backlogs. We interviewed a tulpa live on the air for, I don't know, over half an hour. And a tulpa, a thought form, what it is when someone focuses their thought and meditates and projects their thought in a concentrated form about creating a personality. And if done long enough, if done intensely enough, if done consistently enough, these thoughts will coalesce and actually turn into a personality. If you continue to do it and continue to interact and continue to focus and continue to project, these personalities have actually known to take on corporeal essence. You can see them. There's a great story of a lady that went to India, Nepal. She created one. Get on the internet and just Google tulpa or creating tulpas created. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we know this now. This should not be that big of a surprise to us. We know that all thought is energy. We know that projected energy does have substance and power and can be effective. And we know that it can actually coalesce into a personality. We know the stories are replete about children with imaginary friends. And some people, not even children, have imaginary friends. The movie, what was it, with Russell Crowe, The Beautiful Mind? That fellow had created a whole world for himself, a world of thought forms. And to him, they were as real as they could be. And if you remember when we were talking about the triangle of communication, if two people have reality about something, then it is real to them. Many people believe that this world that we live in is nothing more than an agreed upon reality by billions of people, that it's no more corporeal than any other form of energy. It's just slow wave energy that seems solid, and this world is nothing more than a huge thought form. That's a little bit out there, a little bit beyond the scope of what I'm trying to talk about tonight, but those things are being discussed. And even on a scientific level, you can get on the internet and do a search for holographic universe, and you can see it's not just crazy people like me that are talking about it. There's actually scientific research and study and scientists weighing in, physicists weighing in, saying yes, it appears that it's very possible, if not likely, that we live in a holographic universe, which would be nothing more than a huge thought form. But let's bring it down a little bit closer. If one person, through intense projected thought, can create a thought form that will, after time, take on some personality and even have the ability to project a corporeal form, what happens when a couple billion people are projecting the thought? What happens when a couple billion people are constantly, continually, without stop, projecting the same thought about the same being? Think about it, folks. Think about Christians, the Catholic brand, the Protestant brands. They talk about the devil more than they talk about God. And I know, because for 20 years, I was a Pentecostal evangelist, and we talked about the devil all the time. And it's been going on for 2,000 years. So 2,000 years of people consistently, constantly focusing on this entity called the devil. Is it beyond the scope of possibility that maybe this thought form, this devil, has been created? And folks, think about it. Not only Christians believe in the devil, but everybody, because the church created him and talked about him and sold him to the culture, everybody believes in the devil. I mean, you got movies about the devil, you got books about the devil, you got TV shows about the devil. Why? Because the devil has become a ubiquitous thought in the minds of humanity. What, 7 billion of us, and just about every one of us knows who the devil is. A lot of people think about the devil, they're frightened about the devil, they dream about the devil, and it is this thought that keeps the devil real and powerful. And that, as this lady in Nepal discovered, at a certain point, these thought forms, not only do they become corporeal, not only do they take on their own personality, they can actually become malevolent. They can break out of your control and assume their own individual, separate, distinct identity and actually a life. And you say, how can it have life? Because it feeds off of the energy of all these thoughts. It's an energetic form of thought feeding on thoughts. And this is what the church has created. The church created the devil. You go in the Bible, you can't find the devil. The word is the Satan. It's the unbalanced side of humanity. It's the unbalanced side of our natures. It's our own fears, our own doubts, our own struggles projected. You can really search the Bible in vain for verifiable proof and discussion of a devil that is a person. Now, there's some people say that, one of the Elohim turned rogue, and one of the gods went bad, and I guess that's possible, or is at least has happened on occasion. But the fact that there's a devil, a person, a dude, a woman, whatever you want to call it, that's out there that was created to be a devil, it's just not true. And the devil that we are afraid of, the devil that Christianity preaches and teaches, I'm convinced is a devil of its own making. It's a thought form. It's a tulpa. The devil is a thought form. The devil is a tulpa. I'm convinced of it. And you're talking about a guy who for 20 years was an exorcist, a Pentecostal evangelist. I cast out devils every week for 20 years. And really, all we were doing, as I look back now, is flooding unbalanced spirits with balanced energy so they snapped back into balance and were gone. The church has created the devil. And it makes you ask the question, how many other characters within Christianity are real? How many of these characters within Christianity are thought forms? What about the angels? Are the angels merely just thought forms that we've also created, tulpa of our own manufacture? Now, there are some beings up there that are semi-divine beings that are not thought forms, but to the number and the degree that we think of angels, myriads and myriads, that's not accurate. Those are thought forms, I'm convinced. Those are tulpae, I'm convinced. What about this whole mythology that sprung up around Mary, the mother of Jesus, whose real name is Yeshua? In my book that's coming out, I'm showing you evidence that Paul, the false apostle Paul, created the Bethlehem story. John, the apostle closest to Jesus, said it never happened. And if the Bethlehem story never happened, there was never a Mary to give birth to the little baby Jesus. And I can't say those words without thinking about Ricky Bobby and the little baby Jesus lying in the manger with his fluffy, flowery, golden diapers. I can't get past it. So Mary could very possibly and very likely be another thought form, another tulpa. See, they don't all have to be malevolent. You can sit down and create a thought form over the next 60 days if you like. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a very good practice. And when you start projecting these type of thoughts into the universe, there's things floating around out there that are searching for this energy to keep themselves alive and vibrant and corporeal to the extent that they are, and they'll begin to leech on that, and you may get a little more than you asked for. That's in the classic be careful what you ask for scenario. So I know a lot of you that are thinking people have had a hard time swallowing this whole idea about the devil. I know a lot of you out there that are thinking people have had a hard time, with the considerations of like, why would God create a devil? Well, God didn't create a devil. We created a devil. How could there be this thing called Satan? Well, guess what, folks? We did it. God didn't do it. When you look at it in scientific, rational, psychological, spiritual terms, divorced and separate from the machinations of orthodoxy, things begin to make a lot more sense. Is it possible that the church created the devil? I'd be open to your comments, open to your questions. You can reach me at christianwhistleblower@gmail.com. You can reach me at jeff@christianwhistleblower.com. I'm on Twitter at NC Kabbalah, 2 B's, 1 L. And also, you can email me at Gotham LTD, Gotham like in Batman, LTD at gmail.com as well. So no excuse for not being able to get a hold of me. And at this point, when people write, I always do read and answer. So think about it. Did the church create a devil? And what are you creating by the thoughts and intentions that you are focusing and projecting in your own life? Think about it, folks. If you're constantly bothered by the devil, quit thinking about the devil. That right there has set somebody free. Folks, this is real. This is rubber meets the road spirituality. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I'll be back tomorrow night. We're going to talk more about these type of subjects, and I hope that you're there. And until then, I wish you peace and light.